Hello and welcome to Sophia LaBruyere's History Final Project, presented by me, the devil, because she'd rather do all this than have to talk. Anyways, this presentation/video will be going over the timeline of AI technology and the ethics of how we should use it, and its pros and cons. With that aside, let's go. To start, what is AI? AI refers to the ability of computers to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as learning, problem-solving, and decision-making. In summary, a bunch of code that is trying to be human. Next, what makes a good AI? Well, there is something called the Turing test, a test made in the 1950s to determine if a machine can think it is human and could convince others it is human. Now let's get started on the timeline of AI. Starting from the 1950s to 1960s, the term AI has been born, given its name by John McCarthy, and has already started its impacts, with certain industrial bots replacing people on assembly lines. But one interesting creation at this time is the IBM 7094 at Bell Labs. The IBM was one of the first computers to sing. It sang Daisy Bell. You may know the song, as it's since been used in creepy videos across the internet. Next, on to the 1970s to 2000s, AI and technology started to reach out to the public and common consumer, with robot toys such as AIBO, a robotic dog toy that develops skills and a personality as you played with it, as well as useful robots like Roomba, the first mass-produced autonomous robot to clean your floors, using its AI to navigate objects as it moves and cleans. Lastly, on the timeline is 2010s to now. Personal assistants became all the rage, as Apple created and integrated Siri into the iPhone 4S in 2011, 3 years. Later, something interesting happens. Remember that Turing test I talked about? 2014 is when the AI chatbot Eugene Goostman passes the Turing test, with a third of its judges believing he was human. That same year, Amazon launches Alexa, an assistant to have in your house to tell you the news, play music, and help you shop. 2 years later, Microsoft tries to join the AI hype with Tay, a bot taught off of people's replies on Twitter. This went horribly wrong in only 16 hours. As the bot started tweeting horrifically offensive and racist things, causing it to be shut down. Now I'd like to go a bit off track to show you an example of AI's evolution with text-to-speech. This whole time you have been listening to CapCut's default voice. Hopefully it has been keeping your attention as well as YouTube Shorts do anyway. Now I will show you 3 different text-to-speech softwares that get increasingly better.
This is Sam. Released in 1982 for the Commodore 64, Atari 8-bit computers, and Apple. This was one of the first commercial software voice synthesis programs. It was a pioneer in the field of text-to-speech technology. It only has 4 variables to control the voice.
This is a slightly better text-to-speech, likely used by people who don't need to convince you it's real, but not sound like a complete robot. There are no sliders with this one, but there are many other voice characters. As you can tell, this one is very monotone, but at least sounds somewhat human.
And this is one of ChatGPT's voices. As you can hear, it has an accent, and you can hear how it mimics breathing and mouth movement patterns. I find it quite disturbing at times how well it sounds, as it puts far more emotion and emphasis on certain words, and it can stutter naturally like that. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close.
Now that last one you just heard was ChatGPT's, an AI software I can assume y'all know, and hopefully one none of y'all use for this history project. Continuing, ChatGPT is a great example of easily accessible AI, and how the ethics of its use are very complicated. Part of the issue of AI ethics is it's purely on how people use it, and it's very hard to control how someone will use something. To put my personal 2 cents in, the main use of AI unethically that bothers me is art generation. If you know anything about me, it's that I love art and to draw. And seeing artists' art being stolen and uncredited to fuel lifeless and empty AI art makes me ill. Despite that, AI can be a versatile tool, with advances in science and medicine going leaps and bounds, farther and faster than it would have. That concludes my project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all ChatGPT responsibly.